So we are happy today to have Dr. Ken James here with us to give the sermon. So take it away, Ken.
Thank you. I'm speaking today on why we celebrate. And I'm delighted to give the message today to our church community. Many years ago, too many to count, someone was born to the world who would change our lives. Through selfless service to others, with clarity of vision that is unparalleled in human history, this glorious being came here to serve and remind us all of the absolute truth of this time of the year. Even in the coldest, most unlit moments of our human experience, we are connected to a spirit that transcends the limitations of space and time, and even of death. This blessed messenger appeared among us so many, many, many years ago, and this soul continues to bless us daily with wisdom, insight, and encouragement. On this celebration of what Christians call Christmas Eve, I am, of course, referring to our pastor, Marrice Coverson, celebrates her birthday on this auspicious day. Today may be Christmas Eve to others, but it is Marrice Day to us. All joking aside, I would like us to appreciate what Reverend Marrice has given us by devoting her life to spiritualism. Each week, and often on weekdays too, she reminds us of the truth that there is no death and there are no dead. She also advises us not to wait for someone else to do the heavy lifting and ease the burden of our human existence. Because when we go through the transition that others call death, our personality remains coherent and active. It is up to each of us to embrace whatever life brings us. Now it is the time of the winter solstice, when the sun hides from us for most of each day. We are reminded of how spirit can seem to hide from us if we become too entrenched in the materialistic worldview. The sun is still shining constantly, but because of how our planet is situated relative to the sun, things can seem covered in night at this time of year. When we lose a loved one to the transition to the spirit world, things can seem similarly shrouded in darkness. Yet if we heed the teachings of spiritualism and remember that what appears to our material world as death is just a change in the location of our consciousness, remembering this, we can be comforted. Some of us may even be fortunate enough to find a community of spiritualists, such as here at the Church of the Spirit, where compassionate ministers like Reverend Marrice can bring forth messages from our loved ones. These messages are so compelling in their evidential content that we not only believe but come to know, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that our loved ones continue to exist, even though they have left the material plane. Through the demonstration of mediums like Pastor Marrice, we also understand that we shall continue after we experience our transition. When in spirit, we will still be able to help those on the earth plane by communication through mediums and healers who serve spirit and humanity. I want to close today by reading a short passage from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, because it reminds us not to wait until we are in the spirit world to embrace the truth and duty of the spiritualist way. Dickens writes, "The air was filled with phantoms, wandering hither and thither in restless haste, and moaning as they went. Many had been personally known to Scrooge in their lives. He had been quite familiar with one old ghost in a white waistcoat, with a monstrous iron safe attached to its ankle, who cried piteously at being unable to assist a wretched woman with an infant, whom it saw below upon a doorstep. The misery with them all was clearly that they sought to interfere for good in human matters and had lost the power forever. If we had not found spiritualism,
There we
if
go.
not learned about the value of mediumship and healing, as demonstrated by all of our mediums, healers, and especially by our guide, Reverend Marrice, we too, upon our transition to spirit, could be so clouded with materialist error that we might think we were cut off entirely from the earth plane, as those who grieve for their deceased ancestors believe they are cut off from the spirit world. We know, however, that we are all connected throughout all space and time. And not only is the door to Reformation never closed to anyone here or hereafter, but we will be able to help others embrace this truth while still on the earth plane. The facts of spiritualism have been the life message of Reverend Marrice, whose birthday we celebrate today, and all of us are richer for knowing her. Merry Marrice Day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. That was great. Okay.